Good evening, guys. How are we? Welcome in, welcome in. Great to have you all here. Happy Thursday. We are nearly at the end of another week, and I bring to you yet another JFeetzz Meets podcast. And tonight, my special guest is none other than Exit Left TV, who, of course, is a very good friend of mine. It's great to have Exit on the show. Now, just before I head over to Exit and we introduce him properly, just a couple of thank yous to our channel partners and sponsors, to KFM Radio, that's KFC, I don't know what, I mean, I've got chicken on the brain, so that's probably why I put KFC there, but KFM Radio, and of course, our newest partners to the stream, Pouch. Now, if you don't know what Pouch is, then it is a browser extension that gives you access to free voucher codes. So when you shop online, it saves you money instantly. Save you having to go and look for them. It'll tell you exactly what they are, and if you're eligible to use them, basically. So it's free. You might as well install it. Click on the link there. For every install that goes through my link, by the way, I do in £5 commission. I'm going to be completely honest about that. So yeah, you'd also be helping me out as well. So without further ado, and now that shameless plug is out of the way, let's get the wonderful Exit Left up on the screen, shall we? Now, first of all, you won't be able to hear me, so let's make sure that you can. Exit Left, can you hear me?
I can.
Excellent. Welcome in, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. You?
Yeah, really good. Thank you again for coming onto the stream tonight. Really appreciate it. And, it's long overdue, this catch-up. I think,
Mate. It's been a while.
a hot minute, to say the least. Now, ideally we would probably caught up at a convention between sort of last year and now. However, COVID-19 got in the way and fucked everything for us. How very kind of it. So, first of all, I want to say a belated happy birthday to you.
Cheers, mate. Cheers.
Another
year older.
Yeah, we won't mention the age, 'cause, I know you're a bit touchy about that, so we won't go there. But I hope you had a good day, mate. Despite obviously it being locked down. How did you find it be sort of a lockdown birthday? How was that for you?
It was. Do you know what? It was actually all right. I mean, I sort of, I had my daughter during the day because, my missus was still working and things like that. I obviously hadn't started my job yet, so it was, so I chilled and then obviously streamed. I just streamed for the evening, and it ended up being such a good evening with people. Everyone come out in the masses, which was nice. So
Love that.
yeah, it was good. It was really good.
Good stuff. And of course we need to congratulate you as well, because you started a new job.
Yeah, and believe it or not, it's from content creation. That's how I got it, which was mad.
So,
I just...
Yeah, right, so give us a little bit more information on that. Were you headhunted for it on LinkedIn, or did you apply for it, or how did it happen?
So it was a bit odd. Like I sort of made the decision probably in, I don't know, September, October, and I was like, look, I'm changing my job. I've had enough. And the people that know me knew that I completely had enough of it and all that sort of stuff. And I thought, do you know what? Like, let's what am I good at? What do I like? And everything like that. So I thought, well, I love making content. I love marketing my content. And that's what I know. I'm all. And so I thought, right, let's put my CV out, put it out. Smashed it. I probably applied for something like 50 jobs. I'm not gonna lie, it was mad. And then I got involved in this sort of almost like a recruitment company, but they're not. It's a really weird setup. And yeah, no, it was just they sort of said, like, we've got this job. They want to see your content. So can we send it over? And they sent it over. And that and then they really liked it, and sort of the rest is history, as they say. So yeah, it was good.
Awesome, congratulations, mate. So just a little bit of feedback in the chat. Apparently your sound is poor and you're popping quite badly. I don't know if there's something going on with your mic there, mate, but yeah. I don't know if you need to fix anything. Coaching for Geeks, welcome in. Robin, it's great to have you here.
Let's have a look.
Just while you're sorting that exit, the last time we saw each other properly was at EGX, wasn't it, in 2019?
Was it that long?
It was that long ago, yeah. And that's where I first found Coaching for Geeks, funnily enough. So, do you remember there was a few panels on over the weekend while we were there?
Yeah.
Well, one of the panels, Robin, Coaching for Geeks here in the chat, hosted. And he had Trista Bites on, he had Jamie Nuttall on, and Becky Frost from Special Effects. So that's where I came across Coaching for Geeks. And then over the last couple of weeks, I've obviously been constantly posting in the UK Twitch streamers group, as you've probably seen. And yeah, Robin's been in there. I've seen a few of his posts, and obviously Robin does something very similar to this in terms of sort of podcast kind of chat show type stuff. So Robin actually did a really informative show yesterday about affiliate deals and which ones to kind of look legit, which ones you should approach, how you can monetize your channels as an affiliate, and of course which ones to avoid. So that was pretty cool to watch. So yeah, Robin, really enjoyed that, mate. Thank you very much. Really appreciated you putting that one on. It was really good. But yeah, so the last time I saw both of you in person was at the same event 2 years ago.
It's mad, isn't it? It is absolutely mad. Like, I've just checked my voice settings, by the way, and it seems all right on my end in terms of like through my headphones. So I don't know what's going on there.
It might be a bit of feedback my side. Then I'm not entirely sure.
Maybe.
I'm sure chat will keep us updated throughout anyway.
Yeah.
So okay. I just nearly fell off my chair then. Got a bit excited. So talk to me about how 2020 was for you in terms of content creation. I know very similar to myself. There was kind of like a bit of a pause and then coming back and that sort of stuff. So was that down more to the job? Was it down to obviously Harper, your daughter? Was it a combination of both? What was going on?
Do you know what? If I look back at 2020 as a whole, just obviously I know everything that went on in the world is absolutely terrible, but putting that aside for 1 second and sort of looking at it as a selfish point of view, it was probably one of my best ever years. Quite simply because I've changed a job into what I'm passionate about now. My daughter was born, I moved house, and I got to stream for full time for 6 months of the year. So it's like, what else do I need? It was such a good sort of insight into what it would be as a content creator, full time. I feel like I really hit the ground running last year. With content creation, I found my groove. I've changed game into something that I actually like.
Yeah, we're definitely going to touch on that more in a few minutes actually. But yeah, I think one of the things that I have noticed was in terms of your energy, when you you found that consistency and you were streaming kind of full time for that 6 months, the energy was great. And every time every now and again, obviously I'd be able to pop into chat. I've been crazy busy, but obviously when I have been able to pop by, it's been incredible. Your chat's been popping off. You've had a great time. You've always been doing hilarious stuff on your stream. I'm never gonna forget thick ass. Let's be fair. But it's been great to see how well you've been doing, how consistent it's become, and despite the job changes and things like that, you've committed to it, and I take a lot of inspiration from that because that's something that I certainly need to be doing a lot more.
Yeah, I think, and I think the key thing that you said there was consistency, and I think that was the one thing that I, especially when I was working ridiculous hours, it was something I never kept up. I was missing times and all that sort of stuff, just quite simply because I was just so dead. I was dead. It was so tiring getting home and then just finally sitting down and having some dinner and then going to stream. It's a very, very tough thing to do, but it just basically opened it up for me, really, and it allowed me to just go and just say, right, let's put everything I've got into this and let's see what I can do. And it's really, to be fair, given me so much drive, so much drive especially into this year. I've got a lot of plans and yeah, I'm excited to see what happens.
Well, we're going to talk about your plans certainly as well in a little bit. So let's talk about obviously your one game sort of focus. So you're on Final Fantasy now, aren't you? In terms of your focus. Tell us sort of the story around sort of moving away from what was variety streaming at the time, and into that sort of focus area.
So I think, a lot of people probably knew me from the days where I played nothing but Siege, like Rainbow Six, shooters, and all what was in between. But weirdly, when I first, my gaming experience and my gaming, since I was ever little, was never shooters. It never was. It was just something I was playing as I started streaming. So I sort of did some research and saw that everyone was playing shooters and was successful with shooters. So I thought, you know what, let's do that. And then sort of, after 18 months, I've gone, well, I need to, this isn't working. This isn't something that I need to be doing. I need to branch out and do things that I actually want to play. So I almost started again, really. And I analyzed a lot of the situations, and I said, right, I love MMOs, I love RPGs, I love JRPGs. Why not get into a community that is as good as Final Fantasy 14? And to be honest, I've not looked back. It's been, I feel like I've been accepted over there. I feel like I bring something different as well over there with energy and the stupid shit I get up to and all that sort of stuff. And I feel like sometimes even the game is a back pedal. Sometimes it's just there in the background, and then half an hour later we're still sort of in the same cutscene. Which it can be a put off for some people, but we do have a lot of fun in my streams. I try and make
Absolutely,
I try and
yeah.
make it.
Again, just to reiterate, it's that energy in the stream. I always find that it's one of the most welcoming things to see, especially when for people who may not be familiar with you as well, when they come across your stream, if they can see that sort of energy there straight away, they're more likely
Yeah.
to stick around. So,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's the idea.
I love that. Absolutely love that. So I just want to catch up on chat a little bit. Evening Feats and Exit. Gaz, welcome in, buddy. How are you? Mark, welcome in. Padawan Dan is here from Exit. Thank you for the follow as well, Padawan
Hello,
Dan.
Dan.
And Doco6, my best friend in real life, has asked, where did you get the name Exit Left from?
Yeah, I get this a lot actually. It was a brand I had, funnily enough, back in the day when I was about 18, 19. It was a brand I had with a couple of friends. We had a website, we had some clothing, this sort of thing. And it used to be called Exit Left Apparel. So I sort of was looking through and I was thinking about different names and things like that. And I thought, well, I like that name. Why don't I just incorporate that into a content creation name? Hence Exit Left TV. And that's, yeah, it's stuck from there really.
And the rest is
I feel like
history.
it's natural now. Yeah, and that's it really. Yeah. So it was a brand I had back in the day. And yeah, it's just stuck ever since.
Very nice. Thank you very much for answering the question. And thank you for asking it as well, Doco. I appreciate you coming in and asking a question there, mate. Final Fantasy 14 is an awesome game, Gaz. Yes, it is.
It's such a good game.
It's one of those games that it doesn't matter how many hours you plow into it, there's always something to do.
That's it. And to be honest, as a content creation kind of, it's an absolute goldmine because of that same reason. There's so much to do on it. You can spend your time raiding, you can spend your time just exploring, you can fucking get married, you can do whatever you want. Like it's a great game.
It is. So I want to sort of take us back a little bit, if that's all right with you. So let's go back. Oh, Jesus Christ, it's nearly 2 years now. To when I first started streaming, and I was struggling for an identity and where to kind of place myself, and I found you. I found your stream, and I was having a great time in it. And I remember for the majority of the time I was building my first PC, I'd have you on my phone, and I'd be watching your Siege streams and getting involved in chat and things like that. And you welcomed me in to Euphoric. So just a quick shout out for Euphoric. The Discord is there. We are both part of the Euphoric streaming community. Exit is the leader of said community, and I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for you and for the guys in the community, the likes of Shinobi Nando, who's in the chat. Oh no, not Exit. Oh yes, Exit's here. Liam, Shani, he's always been a very close friend of mine. Moo, there's so many. Benson, I could keep going. Vi, everybody in that community is incredible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they all play a part. They all know. Obviously, I know you kind of help in terms of designating roles, but everybody accepts and respects those roles really well within your Discord. And I think that's what really helped it along. And yeah, the support that the Euphoric streaming community have shown me in particular, not to mention everybody else in the community as well, was what got me to where I am. So first of all, thank you. And this is your chance really to explain a bit about Euphoric, how it started, and what your mission was really for that Discord.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the Euphoric has undergone a lot of changes since we first started it. Most noticeably, it used to be called Day One Gaming back in the day. That was the very first time we opened it. It was called that. And then it wasn't until about 6 months later where we changed it. But the idea was, it was actually me and an in real life friend who no longer streams anymore. But we both sort of we was looking around, we were streaming at the same time, we started it all up together, and we both looked at the discords and things like that, and it was all very much the same. It was fake positivity, it was follow for follows, it was, this is we're going back 3 years ago on Twitch, where follow for a follow was an actual thing that a lot of people did. So what we decided to do was just try something different, and we scrapped all of that, and we created it, and we said, look, this isn't how we want to do it. We're not going to force people to support if they don't want to, but we want to create an atmosphere and an environment where people feel that they want to, and it's not a forced thing. It's people, it's just the vibe. We're all content creators, we're all in this together, and we're a family, and that's basically what we wanted to do. Is literally just make a family, and I feel like we've done that. And I feel like the beauty of it now is that there's so many people there that understand that. So when more and more people start to join, which they have recently, they understand straight away that this isn't one of those discords, this isn't one of those, we're going to get you to affiliate, we're going to do this, we're going to promise this and not do anything. We don't have a stream team because I can't honestly offer anything. Well, like what does I'd rather be upfront and say, that's the reason I don't have a stream team, because I can't offer you anything, rather than say, I'll put you in a stream team, I'll support you, I'll get you, this, that, and the other. When, let's face it, half these stream teams aren't worth the paper they're written.
Absolutely, yeah. You're absolutely spot on. That is something actually I wanted to touch on. I'm just being attacked in the chat, so let me just catch up. Bloxy said, hey Feetzz, I'll follow you if you follow back. And then Monster Mickey's also said, I heard that JFeetzz still does follow for follow. Boys, welcome in. Thanks for that. If there's one thing you boys know about me, it's that I am definitely not one for follow for follow. But yeah, let's talk about that. I think, it's a very hot topic. It comes around sort of 2-3 times a year, this same subject, I suppose. And it, you find that it gets talked about a lot, obviously within Discords, which are semi-private, I guess, in a sense, depending on who's in there, but obviously on things like Twitter and Facebook groups as well. The UK Twitch streamers group, for example, the amount of times I see people talking about follow for follow and posting about follow for follow, it drains the living hell out of me.
It's ridiculous. Facebook is a hell of a place for streamers. It's like going back 3 years at the moment.
Yeah.
It's mad. It is absolute mad.
Monster Mickey said that a lot of stream teams are glorified human view bot machines. Yeah,
you're not wrong.
You've nailed it, Mickey, to be fair. There's not much more I can add to that. You are absolutely spot on. But obviously, you say that you can't offer anything, Exit. I beg to differ. Purely because you have experience, you've been doing this gig for a while now, and you do it well. There's certain things about your sort of method of streaming and the way that you go about your streams and how you include people within your community that I've taken inspiration from, that I've looked to implement. Even at the beginning. And I think because of that experience that you've got, I think it's insightful for those that are in chat. Hopefully there's a few people from the UK Twitch streamers group in here tonight. There tends to be every now and again. So for those sort of new streamers, or the ones that aren't getting the views to go with the excessive follow number that they've definitely not done follow for follow for, what would your advice be?
Take a step back and literally just analyze. I always say this to new streamers, and I feel like it's acceptable to say here, but you look back and you say, right, okay, am I gonna watch myself? If the answer is no, genuinely, take out bias, take out everything. Are you going to watch yourself? If the answer is no, why not? Because if you're putting out content that you don't want to watch, how can you go about and say people need to watch me? And I feel like that was the biggest piece of advice that I got given, and it's to certainly help me going forward. I also find a lot of the common questions I get as well is how do you keep a chat going? How do you keep people talking? And I feel like a lot of streamers, especially new streamers, forget that it's not chat's job to keep chats going. It's the streamer. You're an entertainer. That's why people are there. you're not there for other people to have a conversation with you, because if that was the case, people would just load up their game and play themselves, and that's it, you know. And that's basically, you know, how I sort of started growing, really. Because I sort of was looking back on my Siege content, and I honestly said, I don't like this. I wasn't happy with what I was putting out, so I decided to change it. And now I look back on my streams and I'm happy with the content I put out. And
Yeah,
I
and
feel
you know what, mate?
it shows.
I've been through a very similar sort of, I guess, epiphany recently. In terms of my
Yeah,
own content, I wouldn't say that, you know, the stuff that I've done in the past with games, you know, things like Football Manager were poor. I just don't think that they were reflective of what I wanted to do on Twitch and the type of creator I wanted to be. So yeah, absolutely. You know, I had to take a step back, consider, you know, especially when in the last few months, especially, you know, the view count was low. Is that my fault? Probably. Is it down to timing? There's obviously extenuating circumstances and different factors that come into it, but ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to take on ownership and responsibility. And the only way you're going to grow and continue to, you know, create good content that people want to remain engaged with is to take a step back, reanalyze, and watch it, and, you know, find out what it is that you feel self-conscious about. There's certain things that everything, you know, new streamers, I find, do this a lot. Don't go back and watch the VODs, and they don't pick up on the bad habits that they've got. This is something that it must have taken me a good, 6 to 8 months or something like that, something stupid, before I actually go back and watch my VODs to find out what it was that I was doing poorly. And one of the biggest things was and just filler words. I found that filler words were my biggest flaw, and I wasn't appreciating that, you know, you can take time to take a breath.
yeah, no, literally that. And I also, on the flip side, is silence is deafening.
Yes.
There's so many times that I'll, you know, people will ask for advice, and you sort of go, right, okay, let me just have a look at your VOD, and you'll click on one bit and they're not saying anything. You'll click on another bit to say, all right, okay, I might have just caught it at a wrong moment. Click on another bit, watch it for a minute, not saying anything, and you're like, well, you know, where's the engagement? Where, like,
Exactly.
why, like, give me a reason to stay, you know? And I feel, yeah, it's talking, and you can never run out of things to talk about when you're streaming. Talk about the weather, for God's sake, you know. Talk about anything. It's just, you've just got to keep going, and the thing is, streaming is tough. Streaming is really tough. It's, you know, but just keep going. Just have fun with it.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, look,
I never claim to have answers, and I'm always honest with people, and I say, look, you know, I've not made it. I'm working on it. I want to work as hard as I can, but, you know, it's have fun.
to
You
be
know,
honest,
and
I,
that's
I
the main.
think that if you start to think that you've made it, then you've certainly not made it. There's always room for growth.
Exactly.
There's always room for improvement, and you need to take time out of your schedule or whatever it is that you've got going on to, you know, assess what's going well, what's not, what you can improve, what's going well that you can continue to do. What is making it? That's a good question, actually, Mickey. Okay,
That's true.
so let me rephrase that a little bit then. This as a genuine question towards you. Then I say, what do you define as success?
I think success is subjective. Um, you could say that somebody starting out could come into my stream, and I am lucky enough to have between 20 and 30 at any given time, I'd say, on average. And they could see that as, wow, that's successful. Whereas I see it as, I'm getting there. I want to be able to push on from this. I want to potentially be able to go full time. And that's my idea of success. It's not to become rich and famous, but it's become sustainable for me and my family doing something I'm passionate about.
And
That to me
there's a
is
subjective part,
success.
because
Exactly.
that is what's important to you, is the family aspect. And if you can support your family by
Exactly.
doing something that you love, then absolutely fantastic. You know that it works, and that's great. Nando said that
Yeah.
his version of success, as far as Twitch would go, would be to be full time as a content creator.
That's it.
I agree
Yeah.
with that to some element. And Liwu's also said a lot of people might see making it as being a partner, perhaps, on Twitch.
Exactly. As I said, it's very subjective. somebody could say, you know, my best stream would be with 5 people in, and they were all chatting, and someone dropped me a sub. That's success for them. But they could also say, you know, I got 1,000 subs today, and I had 2,000 people in my stream. You know, it's very, very subjective.
Of course it is.
And you've just got to see, you've got to sort of look at it and say, what do I want to get out of it, and just work your ass off until you get there.
Absolutely. Sinjino said, "Oi, Sinjin, welcome in, dude. Welcome in. Good to see you." So, as far as growth is concerned, then talk about your plans for 21. What have you got going on?
So I've made it quite clear, I think, on my Twitter and over my socials that, you know, I've managed to establish myself as a Final Fantasy creator sort of for the latter half of next year. I personally want to be one of the biggest ones on Twitch. Now I'm not saying that I will be, but I won't be stopping until, you know, I'm dead on the floor. It's something that I want to work hard towards. I want to be recognized as being a Final Fantasy creator, whether that be pushing more YouTube content, which, you know, I'm going to be doing as well. But yeah, that's what I want to do. It's a game I'm passionate about, and yeah, I want to be up there with the best of them. And I feel like I've got the tools to do that, and I'm backed by a wonderful bunch of people, you know, who share my passion. So you know, it's something that, you know, hopefully with the plans and thoughts and ideas that I've got in my head, we can get there.
Absolutely, yeah. And you know, I've got every faith that will happen for you, because you're determined enough to make it happen. You know, you're self-aware enough to understand where your improvement areas are, and you're relentless. And I think that's the one thing that I've always admired about you, Matt, to be honest, is the fact that you've always had that relentless streak to understand, you know, all right, yes, I'm not the finished article, but I'm gonna get there. Come hell or high water, I'm gonna get there. And that determination and that grit is what's gonna get you there ultimately.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. It's like I say, it's not having the delusion that I'm going to make it, this, that, and the other. I believe I can, and I back myself 100%. A lot of people would probably find that as very either cocky, borderline cocky, but I don't see it that way. I've always felt that if you back yourself, you're already winning.
I mean, it's a fine line, though, isn't it, between arrogance and confidence?
It's a very fine line, yeah. Very, very fine line. I don't, like I said, the last thing I want to try and do is come across as a cocky individual, because I don't feel like that's me. But I won't be sat around doing nothing about it. You know, I will try my absolute best and work my ass off to get where I want to be. You know, so and I feel like that's a positive, really.
So have you set yourself a timescale as to when you want to achieve certain things? Have you got sort of 30-day, 60-day, 90-day goals?
Not particularly. I did used to do that, but I always felt that if I fell a little short, if I fell well short, or if I overachieved, it was, I don't know. I kind of almost sort of set myself up to fail sometimes.
Yep.
You know, do I set the goals too easy so I reach them and don't challenge myself, or do I stretch myself? It's a very, again, a fine line. So I just tend to take every stream as it comes, every month as it comes, and just seeing what I can do now to improve, you know, what I'm currently doing. That's and you know, if I look back on the month and I go, that was a really good month, I'm proud of that month, you know. What can I do now to move on from that? But you know, I feel like a lot of people get up in the air about numbers and things like that. And I always feel that, you know, viewer numbers you have some sort of control over, subs you do not. And a lot of people get hung up on subs and things like that. So I tend not to go for like sub goal. You know, I want to reach this month, because it's not up to me if I reach that sub goal. It's up to my community, and you know, I want to try and reach things that I can reach of myself.
Absolutely, yeah, and you know, you are spot on with that. You know, the community is ultimately who's going to get you to where you want to be, but the only way that that's going to happen is that you have to make where you are a community feel for that to happen.
Yeah.
And like I say, from the get go, I've always felt like that in your streams. So keep up doing the great work, man, because I admire you for what you do. I've always taken a lot of pointers from what you do, and I can't wait to see where you take yourself in 21. Nando said, "A goal should never be achieved, only strived for." Possibly butchered the quote though. And I get the sentiment though, Nando. I get what you're saying.
I think you missed one from Lee as well.
Yeah, so I was just about to say that the one from Lee. So Lee's interested to know about what you do to combat the feeling of burnout from playing the same game.
Very good point, actually. The short answer is I don't actually burn out from Final Fantasy just because I love it. I found a game. I'm very lucky to have found a game that I genuinely love playing. Ask me that in maybe 2 years, where I've done absolutely everything. I've leveled everything, this, that, and the other. Like I was on Siege, but I've just found another game. So I put in 2,500 hours on Siege, and I hit a wall with it. I can't play it anymore. I've burnt myself out, so I found something else. And I find that I've got to have fun as well. So I want to find a game that I enjoy, which is Final Fantasy. So
absolutely. Monster Mickey's put a cheeky little football reference in there. I reckon that Sheffield United are following Nando with a goal should never be achieved. I love that. Sinjin said, monthly goals have been my bread and butter lately. Sinjin, I'll definitely talk to you more about that. We've actually got Sinjin on next week. But definitely want to talk to you more about that. But feel free to elaborate in the chat if you want to about how you're setting those goals, Sinjin, because it'd be interesting to know how you're gauging that.
Look, it's not a bad thing to have goals. Like, goals are a very, very good thing. It's just, for me, I've personally tried to have goals, but for me, I feel that I tend to get disheartened if I don't reach the goals. So if I don't make the goals, I don't get disheartened because they're not there. I just take every month as it comes and I just keep going.
Yeah, and I'm very much of a similar to yourself. As much as I'd like to be able to set myself a monthly goal, I always have that anxiety and stress that I'm not going to make it, and I think that then transcends into my content and makes it poorer than it would be if I just didn't set that goal and just hoped to get to X number. For example, my main goal right now is to get to 450 followers on Twitch, but it'll happen when it happens. I'm not pushing it. All I can do right now, and the same as you've said in the last few minutes, is just keep putting out good content, and everything else should hopefully follow.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that.
So the Gazman said, I think in terms of areas of growth, Final Fantasy XIV seems very untapped and to an extent, compared to other MMOs, underexposed. What do you think?
Yeah, so there's actually there was a bit of analysis for me on this. There was a bit of you could say tactic going on with this. So when I ascertained as to what game I wanted to start playing on stream and how I wanted to start sort of portraying my content, I looked at MMOs. One of them was Final Fantasy XIV. One of them was, I think, Elder Scrolls Online. And there was another one which I think it was genuinely I was going to start WoW. Now, what I looked at is I wanted to look at the amount of followers each game had compared to the amount of viewers that it currently sort of streams on an average. Now, any given time, Final Fantasy XIV will have between 1,300 and 12 to 15,000, depending who's live and what's going on. But it also has 1.5 million followers on Twitch. So regardless of if they're not playing it or watching it, you will be more likely to be recommended to these people. Now, also, you're not coming up against thousands of people with thousands and thousands of viewers and getting lost in the ether right at the bottom. So you're giving yourself a head start there. I was lucky enough to be averaging, I think it was around 10 at the time. So I'd gone in with 10 viewers. And so I was up straight away. And so then obviously people that were playing the game, watching the game, streaming the game sort of started coming by, and then slowly but surely people were staying, coming back, talking to them, their friends about coming in, raiding and all this sort of stuff, and it's just snowballed. But yeah, there was a lot of analysis in the background of me sort of trying to ascertain what I think would be the best game for me going forward, because I kind of had a bit of an imposter syndrome when I got burnt out on Siege. I was just turning on my stream just to stream, and that was it. There was no passion. I was doing it just as almost autonomous. So I wanted something that I was going to enjoy. And for those that know me, I love Final Fantasy. I love multiplayer games. I love the community feel, and that's basically why I picked it.
Love that. Absolutely fantastic. Sinjin said that MMOs have a lot of content to explore, and if Final Fantasy XIV had more active PvP community, he'd still be with it. Fair,
Yeah,
Sinjin.
yeah. I mean, yeah, there is one, but it's not very well pushed. I would say it's something they could do better. I'd agree with that.
Good stuff. And Gaz, as you were talking about, the tactics that you were employing in terms of moving into Final Fantasy, with it being a game that you enjoyed, obviously the fact you had your view accounts go in there with, Gaz has just said that he's been checking out those exact same figures versus the other MMOs. So, we've got some researchers in chat as well, which is always nice to see.
Yeah, I think you've got when you want to take it streaming as serious as that's the level of detail I believe that you've got to go into. Unless you're lucky enough to just turn on Call of Duty and have hundreds of people watching you, then I find that that's a big mistake that a lot of new streamers make, is play Call of Duty, no cam, barely a very bad sounding mic, and I'll just sit there and play the game. That's not going to get you anywhere, because it's going to get you lost, and you're going to just lose straight away. I'm not saying that you can't grow playing Call of Duty, but you're not going to unless you diversify your content.
Yeah, and you need to give yourself a good chance as well. If you're starting your streaming career with a headset mic, no camera, and pure gameplay with you not interacting with your chat, do not expect to ever make affiliate, quite frankly, because you're not setting yourself up well enough to go and do it. You need to give yourself a good chance. So, I understand, equipment can be expensive. Get yourself a decent microphone at the bare minimum. If you can't get a camera, at least interact with your chat while you have a decent microphone. And hopefully that will set you on the right path. I think,
to put it into perspective for you, this mic I'm using right now is £30. I've been using it for 2 years. And the one thing that I researched is wanting to make it sound better. So I downloaded a free software called Voice Meter, which is an incredible bit of kit. And it changes the way your mic sounds. I mean, even if I put it up, you can hear the difference straight away, just from changing.
I tell you what did happen there. It got rid of that popping noise. Whatever the hell you did then.
Did it actually?
It actually got rid of it just for a sec. I don't know if.
Is that better?
I think it might be. I think.
See, but you can. It's a cheap mic, but I've never seen a reason to upgrade it. And that's it.
Yeah, when there's good enough software out there and the hardware's sustainable enough, then you don't need to go and spend stupid amounts of money. I mentioned this on the podcast last week. Actually, I was the guy that thought, I'll go out and I'll get all of the expensive equipment and it'll make me legitimate. It didn't. It did not at all. If anything, I just felt like I felt lost in a sense, because I felt like I had all of this kit and didn't really know what I was doing with it. I was just kind of hoping for the best. And, really what I should have done is gradually, bit by bit, just upgraded the kit as and when I learned about
exactly that. I started with no cam on a PS4 with crappy internet. Over time I've just upgraded, and that's the long and the short. It's not to say that you don't upgrade. You always invest in yourself, but yeah, you don't need all the expensive gear straight away. You just need the basics, which is, I'd say in nowadays, is a microphone, a camera, and stable internet.
Absolutely.
I think the rest you can deal with.
I'm just going to interrupt you there just for a second, because the Shanimals just raided us with a party of 4. Liam, welcome in, my friend. I hope you had a fantastic stream. How the devil are you? Why is my shout-out command not working? I do not know. It might be down to the fact that my PC broke over the weekend, just gone, and I've had to rebuild everything. But welcome in, Artificial. Good to see you here. Welcome, Raiders. Hope you're all having a good evening. For those of you who don't know, this wonderful gentleman to my left, I guess, on the stream is Exit Left. Thank you, Shani, for the tier 1 sub as well. It's 11 months you subscribed for. That's incredible. Nearly a whole year. That's madness. Thank you so much. But you know what? I'm going to open the floor a little bit to chat. To open, to ask any questions without me kind of muttering on too much, because I want to make sure that they're engaged. And secondly, I want you, while we're waiting for those questions to roll in, Exit, I want you to talk about you, your stream, and your current content. So, go.
Wow. Okay. Put me on the spot. No, it's. I think if you've not watched me before, I think in terms of what content I do, it's very off the cuff. It's very high energy. 9 times out of 10. There's some there's some things that happen on the stream that get seriously out of hand very quickly. But it's all in good fun. And I hope it comes across, a lot of the time on my stream that I do have fun, and I feel like if I have fun, then hopefully chat will as well, and that's the way I've always streamed really. I try to be as helpful as I can to people, so always offering advice and this, that, and the other. But like I said before, I don't claim to have the answers. I just sort of tell people about my experiences really. But yeah, I'm trying to just create something, just a safe space to come in from the world and just forget about it. That's it. Yeah, just this, with all the shit that's going on in the world, COVID, this, that, and the other. I just try and forget about all that and just create a space where people can just be stupid for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and that's it. Yeah, that's that, and just have a bit of fun.
One thing that I do need to reiterate is how much you love pizza.
Yeah, it's my weakness, to be honest.
I remember
Yeah.
sort of the early days of me being in your stream, and then the pizza remote was brand new, and then you started using it as your sort of I can't remember what they're called, the sub badges to say how long you've been.
Sub badge,
Yeah,
yeah.
and like it went all
Yeah.
the way up to a full pizza, and I loved that. It was the best thing. But yeah, guys, if you're not already following Exit Left, then go and check out his socials. I've dropped the link to the chat there for you. So that's his Twitter, his Twitch, and his Instagram. So make sure you go and drop him a follow. And of course, you'll see underneath Exit on the stream, it's also got his YouTube. So make sure you check that out as well, because Exit, you mentioned before, didn't you? You're looking at potentially making more YouTube content.
Yeah, I have a few videos on there. It's just about being consistent. I've got one waiting in the wings. I'm just finalizing it all and yeah, waiting for it to put the finishing touches on it really. So that'll be dropping soon.
Amazing. So a couple of questions. Artificial said, "What do you use to gel your hair?" And this was a question
Cheers.
that was definitely on Twitter.
No, yeah, just a lot of jizz. Just
Is it your own,
yeah.
or do you source it?
Sometimes it's a mixture. I've got somebody in the back that I just milk every now and again.
Nice.
Just,
And there's that 5 minutes of fun, by the way, that we were talking about. The Gazman has said, "Does pineapple have a place on pizza?"
Yes, you uncultured swine.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm so glad you said yes. I would have had to have just terminated the interview right here if you'd have said no, I'll be honest. But
Absolutely.
yeah, pizza belongs on pineapple, let alone pineapple on pizza. You can't get enough pineapple.
Yeah, this. I'm an avid supporter.
Good man. Right, okay, so talk to me about outside of streaming. How is life treating you? With a new job, obviously you've got Harper. How's it treating you being a dad? All that sort of stuff. Just give us a bit of a background into the life of Matty Wills as opposed to Exit Left.
So it's a busy one. I'll be honest with you. Obviously, I started a new job this week, which is actually giving me much more time with the family, which is important. I couldn't do half the stuff I do without Jen, my other half. She supports me like ridiculous amounts, and when I'm streaming, she's put my daughter to bed, she's feeding her, and this, that, and the other. And it's busy. I've got time. I try and make as much time with the family now as possible, but before last week and before COVID, I was working 60-hour weeks, 6 days a week, and then trying to get family time and streaming in between. So it was a bit of a mad one, to be honest with you. But now, I'm working near on half the hours and a lot more time with the family, which is why I do it.
Would you say you got a better work-life balance now?
Oh, much, much, much more. much more. Yeah, I was sleeping at points, 4 hours a night, for a long time, just because I wanted to get my content out there and also working the next day and still trying to, somehow have a relationship with Jen. But no, she's amazing, to be honest. She's cooking me dinner as I'm streaming, and lets me know when it's ready. And yeah, she's brilliant, to be honest.
See, again, it's going to be subjective, but some might argue that you're living the dream there, mate.
Yeah, I would say I am. To be honest, it could be a lot worse. Let's put it that way.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Whoa, hang on a minute. I'm just catching up with chat. Artificial hates pepperoni on pizza. Or hates pepperoni full stop.
Isn't
Get
that a
out.
pizza? Like,
Get out.
that's like the base ingredient.
It is, absolutely. Hi, Morgan. You okay? Do you want to come in? Just say hello. Morgan just wanted to say hello. Thanks. Right, anyway, so just getting back to the interview then. Sorry I digressed there for a second, but my girlfriend's hot. She's distracting. I can't help it. Let's talk about streamer tips, because this the whole point of me creating this content really is to provide value for up and coming streamers, for people that are potentially just getting into the streaming game. Advice that we can pass on with the experience that we've got, the experience that you've got. What would you say you tried at the beginning and it didn't work?
Being someone I wasn't. Elaborating on that is, I thought you had to be a hype streamer to be a proper streamer. And that's a huge mistake that I see a lot of people making. I feel that when people would come in, I would be all a lot more hyper than I normally would be, and a lot more sort of, let's go and all this sort of bollocks. And I think, to be honest with you, if that's not you, don't do it, because it doesn't come off as natural. You look like an idiot, and I certainly felt like an idiot doing it as well. So I feel like the best, as cringy as it sounds, the most unique thing about your stream is yourself. And a lot of people try and be something they're not. Some people love chill streams. I personally like going into a stream and just chilling. If someone's getting hype over someone saying hi, then I'm like, fucking hell, mate, calm down.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that down the pub with your mates, wouldn't you? If they'd be like, "You're right, mate," and you're like, "Let's go, bitch, yeah." Do you know what I mean? You just wouldn't do it. So like, I just try and be like, just be me, really. And like you say, you've met me. This is how I am all the time.
The biggest shock for me when I met you was, I knew you were tall, but I didn't realize how fucking tall you are. Like, you are crazy tall. I think it's because I'm relatively small as well, so I think the difference in between just made you seem taller than potentially you see yourself. But it was crazy, man. Like, I was stood next to you and I was like your waist height.
Yeah, I'm 6'5", so yeah, pretty tall.
Yeah, you are crazy tall.
I've just noticed Tano in the chat. Yeah, we have covered the fact that it does get out of hand quite a lot on my stream. But to be honest, as I said to you, there is no difference between me in real life and on stream. If anything, I'm worse in real life. It's a hectic lifestyle that Jen lives with me. Never a dull moment.
Never ever. So yeah, obviously you've discussed obviously what one of your major sort of no-nos was that you tried at the beginning. What would you say one of the best things was that you tried at the start?
Streaming.
Actually going live.
Just doing it, and because I feel like you learn on the way. I've learned so many different things, and even in the past 3 months, I mean, someone started a Twitter account about how my chair was a better streamer than me.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's just got out of hand. I mean, it's got very
right.
No.
Come on, you're gonna have to actually stand up and let us get the full view of the chair now.
So yeah, the chair has now got eyes, which is
it's genius,
delightful.
is what it is.
But also, there's a command that you could, well, you could, it's a channel point redeem on my channel where the chair takes over. And basically, yeah, the chair takes over and I'm not there and chair's dancing to music, spinning around, just doing all sorts of shit. So yeah, so that, yeah, yeah, it's basically just taking an idea and rolling with it, and just, yeah, which is what's got seriously. Oh, I forgot to mention as well. Someone actually in the channel has made a website for the chair as well.
Amazing.
Called chairfans.com. And it's basically, we've decided that Chair has daddy issues, which is why he's dancing on camera, and needs to play, and that's the place to buy some premium seat picks, which is basically Chair Fans is Chair's only fans.
Love that.
Yeah, it's got so out of hand. So out of hand.
Escalated from like 0 to 1,000.
Literally, yeah. There's a video of me falling off my chair, but and apparently that's Chair beating me up. But I actually fell over and really hurt my ankle that day. But we digress.
But the things you do for content, eh?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's just ridiculous, to be honest.
And I am gonna have to bring it up again purely because Nando's put it in the chat. Let's talk about thick ass.
I think, what was it? I was playing Sea of Thieves with you, actually.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I kind of had a few wines on stream, and I found a kick-ass costume in my house that I forgot I had.
Was it up in the attic or something like that?
Yeah, it was, yeah, something like that. And so I decided to put it on stream and kick the door in and jump into the room and to be fair, you know, I'm not exactly the skinniest of boys, so we nicknamed it Thick Ass instead of Kick Ass, and yeah, hence the legend was born.
To this day, still one of my favourite pieces of content you've ever created.
It was so bad.
I love it.
It was that. I think there's another one actually on the 24-hour stream where I dressed up as a Dalek as well. That was,
yes, there was the Dalek. There was also the cross-dressing.
Yeah. So that was actually that was a bet. So I think we got into the conversation about wearing a wig on stream and makeup, and then it again escalated. So I sort of said, right, you know, I think I was something like, I don't know, 10, 20 subs at the time. And I said, if I ever got to 100, then yeah, I'll do it. 15 minutes later, I was at 100 subs. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I think she's been nicknamed Mercedes.
Yes, I remember Mercedes.
Mercedes
well.
Pearl, I think. Yeah. Who's come out twice since, I think.
Yeah, I think if there's one thing I've learned about you know, Twitch streamer communities is if you say, get me, if I get to X, it happens pretty quickly and you suffer pretty badly from it. I remember last summer, you know, I was streaming like The Sims 4 or something. I was doing Sims 4 Big Brother, that's what it was. And I remember somebody saying in chat, you know, how many subs would it cost you to shave your head? Like, completely, like, shave your head. And I was like, well, for me, I was only at, like, 15 subs maybe at the time, 10, 15 subs. And I thought, all right, if I get to 50 subs, I'll shave my head. 10 minutes later, lo and behold, 50 subs. and yeah, it's a common trend I've found on Twitch that, you know, if you've got a dedicated community, it tends to happen. Purely because they want to see your demise more than anything, and they want to see it live on stream.
Yeah, I'm a strong believer that my chat bully me. Like, I swear to God, like anything that causes me pain or causes me to gross out is chat is there. Chat is on it. They've got me to get these Bean Boozled, which, you know, now
classic
they get me
streamer
to redeem.
accessory those.
Yeah. But it did start from Demonade. That was the start, but we had to rein that in because I genuinely almost died. Because that was redeemed, I think 5 or 6 times during a stream.
Yikes.
And yeah, I was up until about 5 a.m. just like,
Wired.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. So I was like, let's nip that in the bud. Let's rein it back in just a little bit.
But you still offered something,
But
which
it's
is
still
the main
there.
thing. Yeah, absolutely.
It's still there, but just it's a little bit harder to redeem.
Well, on the subject of being bullied by chat, you'll see there's a little threat there in chat from the Gazman. Speaking of channel points, JFeetzz, the Gazman's managed to rack up 50,000 channel points, which means that he can now redeem for me to do the entire Gangnam Style dance live on stream.
Amazing.
I'm not going to be doing it tonight, though, so don't worry, I'm not going to be taking the spotlight away from you. I'm saying that just to save myself, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. And Nando said, still waiting for Enter Right. Andrew, you said, hi, how you doing? Who's Enter Right?
So Nando's come up with this idea that I have an evil twin brother called Enter Right. And he wears a top hat and a monocle.
Excellent.
I think he's even drawn. Well, he edited a picture over my face of Enter Right as well. That's in the Discord somewhere. I don't know. But,
find it. Somebody find that back in the Euphoric Discord. Feel free to post it in chat.
That'll be very far away. But yeah. So yeah, that's apparently my evil twin brother called Enter Right.
Excellent. So, let's talk about long term. I know you've told me kind of your plan for as far as the Final Fantasy stuff's going, and the fact you want to continue to build your audience on Twitch. Where do you see yourself in? I don't want to say 5 years because that's typical sort of cliche. Let's go in 2-3 years time. Where do you see yourself?
In 2 or 3 years, I would definitely like to be partner. I feel like that's just a thing that I just want to. It's almost a box to tick, as in like, right, okay, now I can really work. Because at the moment, I just want to. I always want to be different from everybody else, as every content creator does. So I want that to add to my repertoire. But I just, like I say, it is genuinely be established as an MMO creator. And that'll be on all platforms, not just one. And yeah, just be somebody that people know through playing specific games and things like that. Just to be a known creator in games that I'm passionate about, I think is a good goal. But like I said, the main one for this year is to really drive Final Fantasy 14. And really just see how far I can take it. So that in terms of sort of current real sort of focused, I am that's the goal I'm focused on.
Amazing, good stuff. Okay, so one thing that I've always wanted to ask you one-on-one, really, because I don't feel like we've ever had enough time really to discuss it properly. So let's talk about DLive. I know, people don't like to talk about other platforms on Twitch, but let's talk about DLive because I remember you for a while, you moved over to DLive, you were doing quite well over there, but I remember you being sort of the top streamer in the category of the game you were playing. So give us a bit of, give us the experience that you had on DLive and how that sort of compared versus Twitch.
So yeah, it was a bit of a weird time for me, really. I feel like it was more of when I look back on it, a naive time, I would say. It was almost, I sort of looked at my content with it wasn't Final Fantasy 14, it was Rainbow Six at the time, and I thought, do you know what? I'm playing this game. Why am I not getting anywhere with it? I've been doing. I was headbutting the same brick wall for months and months and months, and I wasn't doing anything. So I was sort of thinking, well, what do I do? It's got to be the platform. And like I said, this was a long time before I decided to take a step back and said, right, okay, well, it's the content. But at this point, I was refusing to believe that. So I thought, right, let's have a look what's around. I looked at Mixer, didn't really vibe or click with Mixer. Well. And one thing, yeah, and there was one thing that I wanted to try was DLive. So I sort of had a look at it. I liked the idea of chat being able to earn from it as well, just by watching streams. I knew a couple of people over there that said how good the community was. So I said, let's try it. Let's just try it, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I went over there. I did very well, but I always felt like something was missing. I always felt like I don't know. It was a weird platform. There was a lot of weird creators on there in
Weird in
terms
what
of
sense?
one person. Well, there was one person streaming his life, but he was like for 9 hours of the time he was asleep. He was
Oh,
actually streaming
sleep
himself
streamers. Yeah, they're a
asleep,
thing.
and like he was just sitting there like cleaning his teeth, and I'm just like, hold on, like what's going on here? Like what have I got myself into? There's people, like spreading some really far right information on it, and I just thought, "Do you know what, I don't particularly want to be associated with this. um and I always thought that like I was on it for a total of a month, I think. And I sort of worked my way to be the top streamer of Siege on the platform within a month. And I thought, yeah, that's a really, really good achievement, but where do I go from here? And I always thought, well, I'm not testing myself. I'm not pushing myself. And I've come over here because of a what's the word I'm looking for? I've come over here because I thought that it wasn't my content when it actually is. So I wanted to just go back to Twitch and start afresh with a fresh mindset, and yeah, I feel like that was definitely the right thing. Definitely the right thing to do.
Would you say that
But it's
that
not.
that
I'm
was maybe
glad I've
one of?
tried it.
Would you say it was maybe one of the things that um, I don't want to say regret because everything's a lesson. But do you think it's one of those things that you looked at and how we mentioned earlier on that it was one of those things where you wanted to challenge yourself but you didn't want to fall short. It was maybe a potential for you to do quite well quite quickly and give you maybe a bit of fulfillment. Were there any sort of reasons behind that apart from? I know obviously you said it was down to the platform and you thought potentially it was down to that. Um, but was it almost seen as maybe a quick win for you in a sense because there was maybe less people on the platform or?
Yeah. There was like I said, I'm quite an analytical person. I like to know, I like to try and find out facts, figures, trying to think that potentially things that'll work, what won't work, that sort of stuff, before making a decision. I think it was looking at it and I was like, right, okay, so there's a lot of people on here, but the top streamer on the platform at the moment that I can see is only on 100 or so viewers. So even if I'm on 5, 10, I'm going to be like 20th down the list of the everybody on the platform. So I use that as a well. That's exposure. That's everything that Twitch fails on. But I think at this time it was still relatively new into streaming. And I was, yeah, like I said, I was very naive to think that you know I didn't have to put the work in, which is probably the main cause of it. But yeah, so that's I don't regret that I tried it at all. But I'm glad that I made the decision to come back to Twitch and give it a really proper 100% good go.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a nice little segue actually onto my next question. Is the Twitch algorithm or the lack of rather?
Yeah.
How do you see that working moving forward?
Um. I'm not a designer. I'm not a anything like that. But there needs to be something. There needs to be, you know, in terms of front page on Twitch, there needs to potentially be days where it's nothing but anybody over under 400 viewers, maybe, or a time slot or what have you, because all I see on there are people with thousands and thousands of views. Understand why, because they want to show off their best creators. But even in my recommended tabs, that like if I scroll down now looking at my recommended, I've got 2.6 thousand viewers, I've got 10.5 thousand viewers, 8.3 thousand viewers, 24.9 thousand viewers. And the lowest one I see on there right now is 62 viewers. Recommended channels should be better better utilized in my
I
opinion.
agree.
That could be, that I have come across some really good streamers on there. And it's every now and again on your under the recommended you'll find a good one. But these people like Scump, for example, for Call of Duty, he doesn't need recommending. He's known. I don't even play Call of Duty, and I know who Scump is. You know, it's you don't need that. He does, and there's no disrespect to any of these bigger. You know, from what he's done is amazing, but give it to the little guy. You know.
Yeah, you got to reinvest. The way I say it, once you've put enough time and effort into somebody for them to be successful and for them to shape, you know, some sort of success on the platform, move that success along because they are self-sustaining at that point and they can continue to succeed. So why not then put your best effort into the next up and coming streamer and so on and so forth.
That's it. Exactly that.
So that's yeah, I agree with you in terms of the fact it needs to be better. I think in the next couple of years we'll see some form of algorithm, because you know now the fact that people are moving over to YouTube, Facebook gaming is not going away anytime soon. There's a lot of money being invested in that, and the discoverability over there on both of those platforms is tenfold what it is minimum on Twitch. It just happens to be that that Twitch is the place to be for gaming. It's mainstream, and that's why it continues to pull people in from a streaming perspective. But there is going to come a point where discoverability means more. You've tried it yourself in terms of platform switching just to see if it gives you a bit more exposure. There will come a point where one of these other platforms, one of these, I wouldn't say the rivals, so to speak. I think YouTube is out there for different reasons. It's more on demand content, so I wouldn't say it's relatively comparative to what Twitch are doing. Facebook isn't established enough. It bought out Mixer, so it hasn't really got as much gravitas behind it, I suppose, as Twitch does as a standalone. But there will come a point where one of these platforms will do something well. It'll get broadcasted through the mainstream sort of, the top end creators, and everybody will follow suit.
I mean, it's only going to be a good thing if the competitors are going to get better, because at the moment Twitch doesn't have to do anything.
Exactly.
Twitch is Twitch knows how good it is, knows that it's got the audience, but I think you need to I think it needs to be better, but it needs to have a competitor that's willing to take it.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anybody in that market right now who's willing to take on Twitch as a head to head. There have been there have been smaller platforms, and those platforms still exist, but I don't feel as though they're pushing their capabilities to the absolute maximum to actually give Twitch a run for the money right now. And until that happens, like you say, Twitch know that they're well ahead and can just get away with doing the absolute bare minimum when it comes to updates. And they'll still command an audience just because they can.
Yeah, exactly that.
Brilliant. So, in terms of the questions, I guess that's pretty much it wrapped up for me in terms of what I wanted to ask you. As I always do with when I get people onto the show, I always do kind of a quick fire, five things, and it's always around the new streamers, the new content creators looking to get started. What would your 5 top tips be to a new streamer?
Check your content. Watch it back. So that's what I mean by that.
Yep.
Enjoy it. I'm just trying to think. Don't. Enjoy it.
Feel free to elaborate on some of these points as well if you want to.
Okay. So enjoy it, because at the end of the day, it's a hard thing to do. It's a lot of hours. For very, very little. So you've got to enjoy it, otherwise it's pointless. And I would say the third one would be definitely work on the dead air in your streams, and just keep chat going, because it's your job, not chats. Get your content, diversify it. So diversify it on many platforms. There's a lot out there now: TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All of those. Get it out there. Show everybody what you're about. And just don't expect miracles on the first day. Just work hard. It's a long stretch. Twitch. It is a long stretch. So, I mean, even if somebody started the same day as you and is doing so much better than you, it's it's trying to progress yourself, and it's just trying to make sure that you're giving yourself the best opportunity to succeed.
Absolutely, and
And
I think just to elaborate on one of those points a little bit further, and it's a cliche, it's a phrase everybody knows, but it is a marathon and not a sprint. At the end of the day, I think
literally,
I came into Twitch thinking, within a year I'll be recognized, people will know who I am, blah 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 blah. That I was so naive to think that, to be honest, because I wasn't even anywhere near a progressive version of myself, let alone, anything close to a finished article. And I'm certainly nowhere near that. But I think now that I'm more self aware in the fact that I don't want to, that I'm never going to be a finished article and I've always got things to learn, that will help me in the long run. And I have to just trust in the process. And,
exactly.
that is one thing that because I always try and give one piece of advice on these podcasts from me, off the back of those sort of quick fire 5 top tip question type things. One thing I can focus in and one thing that I hone in on. So this week it's going to be, don't expect immediate success. Just off the back of what you've said, Exit. So it's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of hours that you're not going to get back. So
Yeah.
be prepared to understand that going into it, because yes, over time you'll enjoy yourself. You'll discover what type of content you like creating, and you'll focus on that, and that's what you'll become in terms of the label of type of creator that you are. But just enjoy the process. It's a long thing. I've been streaming for, it'll be 3 years in March. So
Wow.
it's flown by. Absolutely flown by.
Yeah.
And like I say, there's still a long way to go. Still an absolute long way to go. Of course, like yourself, Matt, I've got the dream to one day have the partner status and have the tick next to my name and all of that from a verification point of view. And I believe that one day I'll get there, but I feel that I'm still some way off getting there. I think my timeline is a lot longer than yours, for example, in terms of where I am. But again, I trust in the process.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you've just got to ascertain. Like I said, you've identified it, and you said, right, this is what I want to do. I want to do, podcasts and chat shows and things like that, and that's brilliant, because then you've identified something that you want to do, which is different from other people, and yeah, and that's great. That's absolutely brilliant, and that's what it takes. It takes to 1 second just to step back and say, am I enjoying the content I'm putting out? It's very easy to say yes, because you can be blinded and you can be biased, but if you're honest with yourself, and I feel like a lot of people aren't at the beginning, and they expect people to watch, and I just think that's a very, if you wouldn't watch yourself, how can you expect somebody to watch your content?
absolutely, I'm into that. So one final thing from me before I think we'll call it, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, good.
We're both from a brand perspective now. We both have the analytical approach of what it's like to be on the marketing side of things. We see a lot of content being fed across the internet, and we have to sort of almost cherry pick the good bits and identify those that are putting out good content. Have you found that since going into a marketing role that you've become better at identifying what you would label as good content?
Yeah, and on the flip side, I think it's a lot, because obviously I'm digital marketing for a business. I've got many transferable skills, but it's a very different kettle of fish in terms of what I'm putting out there as a business,
Yeah.
compared to what I'm looking for in a streamer. They're very different things, but yeah, I can ascertain quite quickly now, what is good content and what is bad content, or lazy content. I wouldn't say it's necessarily bad, because a lot of people would like that still, but I would say lazy is a word, and one of them for me, especially, is the when they just give you a link to the clip,
Oh Christ!
rather than actually taking the time to just download it. Even downloading it and putting it as a tweet is more than just sending a link, because nobody's going to watch it. That's just an example, but yeah, there is a yeah. I think again, good and bad content is very subjective. What I might like is something that you might hate. But yeah, I think in terms of presenting it the best you can, yeah, that you can definitely tell.
Absolutely. Okay, well, listen, Exit, thank you so much for coming on to the show, mate. Really appreciate you coming by and agreeing to this, because it was weeks ago when you agreed to this. When I decided what I
It
wanted
was,
my
yeah, it was quite a
content
while.
to be, and I'm really glad that we got a chance to catch up more than anything. It's been great. It's been insightful getting your take on things, getting understanding of your journey, where you want to go. I love talking about this sort of stuff with people and finding out kind of what their plan is. But ultimately, for
Yeah,
me, you are one of my closest friends in the streaming community, so it's really nice to be able to catch up with you after, it's been a hot minute, like we said earlier
been a
on.
while, yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's been a while. Like I said, hopefully this year, once COVID's all blown over, we can get a few beers again
Oh,
at
absolutely,
an event.
and I can't wait for that. And I'm hoping it's not going to be too far into the future, because it's long overdue. Shani's just said, "Good watch, lads." Thank you, Liam. Appreciate that, man. Thank you very much for sticking by and for the raid, of course, for the sub. And I'm just, if you don't mind, I'm just going to do a quick little plug. Guys, those of you that don't know, it's worth you guys knowing now, while there's still a few people in chat. I've recently partnered up with a company called Pouch. They're similar to the if you know what Honey is, it's a browser extension that saves you money by installing. You install the browser extension and you get voucher codes to use online. Well, this is like the UK version of it, so feel free to have a look at that at some point. Matt, just before you go, I'm going to plug your socials again. So if, of course, guys, you're not already following Exit Left on all of these socials, make sure you do. And of course his YouTube, which will be seeing more content, I'm sure, very soon. And of course, again,
Definitely.
just a little plug to the euphoric streaming community as well, because neither of us really would be where we are without the community. So
Without a doubt.
we both
Without a
owe a
doubt.
lot to euphoric. And that's pretty
That's
much
why
it,
I've
guys.
repping them today.
Yeah, I'm glad that you are though. Branding yourself, I love it. So
That's it,
have
yeah,
you got any
great.
recommendations then, Matt, on who you'd like to raid?
Oh, let's have a little quick look, shall we?
Also, how are Liverpool getting on?
Do you know what? I don't actually know. I haven't even looked at it. I haven't even looked at. Should we have a quick look
Have a
before
quick
we
look,
look
why
at someone
not?
on the raid? Oh, it's 0-0. Absolute
Nice.
delightful. I wish I didn't look. Thanks very much for that. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's have a little quick look. My cousin's actually streaming.
Excellent.
He's
Okay.
very new streaming. He's been streaming. I think this is like his fourth stream or
Right.
something.
Let's go over there then.
Let's do it. Origi missed a one-on-one. Why am I not surprised?
Yikes. So what's your cousin's handle on Twitch?
I'll type it. I'll type it in chat.
Excellent. Okay. And of course, guys, those of you still around, thank you very much for tuning in. As we go over, make sure you drop the love to Exit's cousin, also called Matty. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's show some love.
He's from your neck of the woods.
Is he? Excellent.
Yeah, he's a northerner.
Up the north. King it north. Yeah, make sure when we go over, guys, that you're showing some love, dropping follows to Matty if you're not already. I will hopefully see you again next week when we have Sinjino as the guest on our channel, and we will be doing this all over again. Exit, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here, and no doubt I'll be by very soon to see some more of your fantastic content.
Appreciate it, man.
Take it easy, mate. Thanks very much, guys. Take it easy. See you later. Bye bye.
Yeah, he's just started. That's it.